Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to a Division 2 video, and the Dust Storm event is in full effect for the next 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks or so. And we have a banger of a build for you that you can just face tank everything. Every single difficulty. The gameplay that you see in the background will be on heroic, just face tanking all of the Dust Devils, just face tanking the bosses, and even up to the Hunter. This is the build that you want to run around with in this event. We have our damage, we have our survivability, and we can even stand right in front of somebody, still do damage while not shooting, up to an extra 900 to a million damage, depending if you're using the season. This whole showcase is without the season, so you can only get stronger, and this is the build you want to run around with. Throughout the build video, I will show you a couple more snippets of gameplay as well. But for now, this is enough intro, this is enough gameplay. Let's jump over to the build itself. Starting as always with our specialization, we are utilizing the minigun specialization. Why? Because this will give us 10% armor on kill, and of course make sure to work towards the gun that you are using. We are utilizing an LMG, but this build can hold whatever you like to play with. And for that main weapon, we are using the Pestilence. Yes, on this build we have 935 RPMs, a magazine of 100, and headshot damage of 85%, and an optimal range of 35 meters, with close to 104k damage. We went, of course, for critical hit chance as the third attribute on there. That is the best attribute that you can go for LMGs. Every single other weapon, you should go for damage to target out of cover. And why is the Pestilence so good? Because it comes with the talent Plague of the Outcasts. Hits apply a debuff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, 100% of the stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. Because those Dust Devils spawn together, attack you together, they are almost always within the 25 meters away from each other. So when you're face tanking one, you're shooting him down, that extra damage of the Plague of the Outcast will jump over to your next enemy and can get up to that 900 to 1 million. On this setup, without the season, it's around 900k extra ticks. For your secondary weapon, doesn't really matter what you use, same as for your pistol. Secondary weapon, I should use something that I don't have proficient yet, as that will save you some materials and or duplicates. Or I went for the stack broker. Whenever I switch around, I have back and forth. What will give me an extra 5% rate of fire and 4.5% weapon damage for 10 seconds. What will help out, I'm not doing it that often. Only, of course, when I swap back from my quick step. As this, of course, has the talent Sports Mode. Plus 20% movement speed. This bonus does not stack with other movement speed bonuses, and you need to hold this pistol in your hand. So switch over when you run to your next destination. When the enemy spawns, switch to your shotgun, to then over to your Pestilence. You will have that extra little damage, but it won't be that often. Now that we talked about the guns, this is the whole overview of the build. We're using 2 pieces of improvised gear, 3 pieces of gear guard, and of course the exotic gloves. Starting with the exotic gloves, because that's where most of our damage is coming from. These are the overdogs, crit chance, crit damage and weapon damage on there, and the talent Weakest Link. Amplifies weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemies currently in combat as per tier hierarchy. And the beautiful thing about this Dust Storm is that all these enemies are in the same or close to the same bracket. So you will almost always have these gloves active, and that's why that extra 30% amp damage jumps in, and we can still shred through people while we have that 1.5 million armor. For the 2 pieces of improvised gear, why 2 pieces of improvised? Because this will give us the opportunity to add an extra mod to there. Yes, We won't have brand set bonuses, but we have the opportunity to add a mod to it. I chose to go for armor, arm regeneration, and an extra crit chance to add protection from elites to that, because again, we're almost only fighting elites, especially if you're hunting down these dust devils. Same I did, of course, for my knee pads. Change it around a little bit as we have some extra weapon damage, then arm regeneration and crit chance, and another protection from elites. And you already probably see what we're aiming at. We're aiming at an arm regeneration with protection from elites build. That's why we went into Gia as well, as this will give us 5% extra armor, 60% extra health, and 2% extra arm regeneration. We tried out a bunch of different combinations to Golan and the Bellstone, giving us a little bit more armor regeneration, but that extra health and that extra armor do come in clutch. So the 3-piece Gilligard after testing is the best setup in our humble opinion. Again, armor, arm regeneration, critical hit damage, protection from elite mods, and then we went for the talent Adrenaline Rush. Whenever you are within 10 meters of an enemy, gain 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds, stacks up 3 times, and the cooldown is 5 seconds. Because we're running around with 1.5 million armor without the season active, this will give us a huge boost, and you kinda wanna be in their faces, as they won't do that much damage for you, as we have 75% total protection from elites on this build. You can be just in their faces and beam them down. Adrenaline Rush will help you out a ton. Yes, it's even more survivability, but throughout our chest piece, the gloves, and of course the ticks of the pestilence, we have enough damage output. Then for the other 2 pieces of Gia, it's of course the mask. We chose to go for the chill out, because then we can get 2 mod slots on there. Chose to go for 2 protection from elites mods on there, and then of course crit chance and weapon damage rolled. And then for the chest piece, this is not the perfect one, as that explosive resistance should be arm regeneration. Then of course, go for armor. Again, critical hit chance or critical hit damage, depending on what the crit chances is that you want to hit. And then, of course, again, a protection from elites mod. And then I personally went for Obliterate. Critical hits increase the total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacks up 20 times. You can also go for Intimidate, but I prefer to go for Obliterate, as this is almost always there. When you lose your bonus armor, Intimidate will go away and you will lose some damage. I prefer to go for Obliterate, but Intimidate is also a good combination, especially in the combo with our backpack, with of course Ad Rush. And that's the whole overview of the build. I still prefer to use a Revive Hive, especially when I'm solo, running around, fighting that hunter, because the hunter, yes, you can beat him with this build, yes, you can be in their face with that build, but you have to be a little bit more careful, and it is a little bit more of a longer fight against him. I will see if I can paste it at the end of this video so you can check the hunter fight out. But overall, you can be in the faces of the enemies, and sometimes maybe a red barrel explodes next to you, you still get taken out. This extra life will help out. And because we're running around in the dust storm, the one and only skill that you have to use is the pulse. This will pulse around, this will let you know where everyone is, especially in the heavy dust storm where all those enemies can spawn on you. It's quite nice to know where they are and or where they're coming from. And then let's jump over to the stats real quick. If we go down, we have a 49.5% critical hit damage and a 69% critical hit damage. Nice. We got an 85% headshot damage. And then, of course, if we go down, we have 1.5 million armor. We have 150k armor on kill. An armor generation of 45k a second. But this, of course, can get close to that 48k armor generation if we have an armor generation roll on our chest piece. We got a little extra health of 561. And then, of course, if we scroll down, the most important one, 75% protection from elites. Because all of the enemies that you fight within these dust storms are elites, this will help you out a ton. The max is 80%, so you could also lose one of the 10% protection from elites mods on your build to then utilize the survival specialization with the bow, as that will give you that 12% protection from elites, boosting it up to 77 protection from elites, and probably a little higher in your critical hit damage. But that extra armor on kill and the third reload faster with gunner is quite nice. But that's pretty much it for me today. This is the build that we've been using. We've been testing 3 to 4 different versions, and this is the best one. A huge shout out to Tutok, because this is the last version, his version that we tested out. So huge shout out to you, my friend. And now, of course, I want to hear from you. Are you running around with a build like this, or have you set it up a little bit differently? Hit me up in the comments down below, but that's it for me today. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. Like the video if you liked the video or helped you out in any way or form. If you're new here and or you want to be updated by the Division 2, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And I will see you in the next one. Pure Prime out.